John with Hometown Pickleball here. I've had a lot of people asking about these Quantas. They're really excited. But when you watch some of the reviews, putting on the weight almost seems overwhelming. And so I'm just doing a quick video of that there. I'm going to break down each paddle and where I recommend putting it. That does not necessarily mean that it's going to be exactly where you want it. But I'm going to show you that this process of putting on weight is definitely not as difficult as maybe some of the reviewers seem. Very easy process. So we are going to do the weight setup on the Quanta R116 the way that I recommend it. Now, if you wanted it set up more like the boomstick, you would add all your weight pretty much up here at the top. That's how they've got their set up. Definitely can do that. It is a little more aggressive than I like at that point, at that spot in the paddle. And so I'm just going to kind of show you where I like it. So this paddle starts out at 775, which is a very light paddle. You go out and play with this paddle, it's going to work. You hit these off hit, the ball is going to push the paddle a little more, so it's going to twist in your hand. Even on a nice center hit, you might feel it pushing back a little more. You're thinking tenths of an ounce, and all that doesn't make that much difference. It is amazing what it does. So this one here, there's a few different types of weights. There's these little things. I bought these like on Amazon. I think 30 of them for $9. Each one is 3 grams. I have a little packet that I sell on Hometown Pickleball that is tungsten. And so the tungsten comes here in a roll. This one is 40 inches. Each inch is 1 gram, and 2.8 grams is 1/10 of an ounce. And so you've got to be about 2.8 inches long to get that. My goal weight for this paddle is around 8.3. Once I get an overgrip, maybe 8.4 with my overgrip. And so we're not going to put the overgrip on this one. We'll just kind of get us close and go from there. So I went ahead and I pre-cut 2 pieces of this tungsten, and I'm going to go ahead and put that on. And I'm going to start it at about 3 and 9 and work its way down. Each of these pieces are 5 inches, so that would be 5 grams, 10 grams total. And so here we are. Once I add those, we are at 8.2, which is real close. Another thing that I like to do is I've got this protective tape. I'm not actually going to put it on. Whenever you buy a paddle from Hometown Pickleball, you get a protective tape is included. I've got white, I've got black. I'm just going to set this on there so we can kind of see. And so with that on there, this is another about 1/10 of an ounce. I put that across the top, just protects it. Does add a little weight for stability and power, but not much. And so we're at 8.3. To me, this is the perfect setup. I would also add overgrip on my personal paddle. Definitely would recommend that. And you'd be getting real close to that 8.4. All right, we are going to talk about the Quanta R2 16 and the weight placement for that paddle. So this paddle comes in at 7.75. On the Quanta, most people that get the Quanta, there's a couple things they're looking for. They're looking for the largest sweet spot, and they're also wanting to keep it fairly quick in the hand. And so with this paddle, starting out at 7.7, I went ahead and I pre-cut 2 pieces, but you just cut it with a scissors, very easy to cut. 2 pieces, about 5 inches. And on this one here, I would actually put it right on the sides. And so if right here is 3, I'd split it about in the middle on both sides. And it does not need to be exact, just close. And then another thing with Hometown Pickleball, we do throw in edge guard tape that with every purchase of a paddle. We don't put it on, we let you put it on. That way if you don't want it, or you want it on a different paddle, or you want to give it away, you can do whichever you want. I would then also put this on. And so we're going to see once, I won't put this on right now just because, but I want to see the goal weight is around that 8.3 area, and that is exactly where we are, 8.3. Now I also recommend putting an overgrip on. That overgrip will get you to about 8.5. To me, this is the perfect setup. It is nice balance. It's going to be quick in your hands. It's going to make a very large sweet spot. It's not going to get head heavy from putting weight on that top. This would be the setup I would recommend for the R2 Quanta. All right, we are going to talk quick about the Quanta, the R3 Quanta. So this is the elongated with a flat top. The weight setup for this, what I would recommend. So most people that are getting the Quanta, they are wanting that big tennis swing. This is kind of in general that tennis style play, lots of top spin. And so I would put my weight a little different than some of the other paddles. On this one here, we are going to cut some new pieces of tape. For each inch is 3 grams, and so you can kind of place it where you want. And so on this one here, I'm actually going to put it into 4 pieces. Cuts very easy. On the back side, I've got a little measuring thing. I think I'm going to go 2.5 inches. So 4 pieces of 2.5 inches. We got 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now, one nice thing is you can move this around kind of wherever you want. This is kind of my recommendation for what I feel helps this paddle play the best. So a lot of people, they're going to want some stability with this right here. That's kind of, or I should say twist weight, to protect that twist weight, also to enlarge the sweet spot. And so on this paddle, I like to do the 4 corners. And so I'm actually going to put this on real quick. As you can see, this is not a big process. And so I would go each of the corners, and what this is going to do is it's going to help your sweet spot get larger. It's also going to help with a little plow through power. Your twist weight is going to get better. And so kind of all the things that you're looking for in a paddle, I believe it's going to give you. Now if a person said, I want to keep it a little bit faster, so I don't want any head weight on it, putting it down more is definitely something that you can recommend or do. And so let's see what we're at. And if you're a little bit off, it doesn't matter, but I put that on the 4 corners. And so we're going to put that there, see what we weigh. So we are at 815. I also, with Hometown Pickleball, we give a free edgeguard tape. We don't put it on, we let you put it on in case you want it on a different paddle. But we're going to put that on there too to see what we weigh. And so we are at 8.3 ounces exactly, which for me is a nice point. It's not going to be quite as powerful as a boomstick. It's not quite as head heavy as a boomstick. Very nimble, at the same time give you very good power and a lot of the benefits the paddle gives. Talking about the weight setup that I recommend for the Quanta R4. Now you can set it up more like the boomstick. This is the hybrid shape, so the boomstick has their weight all kind of up in this top area. That's going to kind of be that max twist weight, max power. I personally, that is not quite what I like on this setup. Reason that I like the hybrid, and this is probably my favorite shape out of the 5 shapes. I do like a lot of them, but this is probably my favorite one, is I'm going for something quick. I'm going for something that's got good pop. And I feel that if I just put all that weight way up here, I maybe lose some of my quickness. And so we're going to talk about this right here. So this paddle right here, I'm going to start this out. We're going to weigh this in ounces. This paddle here weighs 7.85 ounces. 7.85 is definitely a little light for me. I feel that if I hit a ball off on the side, the ball is going to push the paddle, which is a bad twist weight. Even hitting in the center, I feel like the paddle is going to give a little bit more. And when you hear adding tenths of an ounce, a few tenths of an ounce, you think, oh, that's not very much. When it comes to your pickleball paddle, it definitely makes a very big difference. And so on this paddle, where I would recommend is I want this thing to stay pretty quick. I am going to keep it, we're going to start it a little bit below 3 and 9. And so I'm going to go just about all the way to that throat. What this is going to do is it's going to enlarge my sweet spot a little bit. And I am doing, sorry I didn't say this earlier, but I am doing some tungsten tape. And so this right here, each one of these is 3 grams. Each inch of this is 1 gram. And so 1 gram, well, 3 grams is about 1/10 of an ounce. And so I did 5 inches on each side. This is going to bring this paddle up to about, let's take a look, 825. Now, another thing that I like to add, and anytime you buy a paddle from Hometown Pickleball, you get this edgeguard tape, and that's going to be for the top. Just protects the top. It does add a little bit of weight to the top. I don't mind a little weight in the top to help that plow through. And so we're going to put that on here too. And so we're going to be at about 8.35, which to me is a real nice spot. I also will add on mine some weight, or not some weight, some overgrip on it to make that handle a little bit bigger. I saw that right there. It's a tacky, helps absorb the sweat a little bit. Very nice overgrip. That's what I would put on. So my paddle, when I get all said and done, is going to be right about 8.5 ounces. It's going to be stable. The sweet spot's going to be very nice. it's not going to lag because too much weight on it. We are going to talk about the Quanta R5, some weight setup on this right here. So these paddles come in very light. This one here comes in at 7.7 ounces. What happens is you get a paddle that light, you hit a ball off to the side and the paddle easily twists. And so a little weight is going to help that stability. Also, just naturally, your sweet spots aren't quite as big as they could be with adding a little weight, so this weight's going to help that. Most people that buy the R5, that is what I'm going to call the non-traditional wide body, they're looking for a very large sweet spot, and they're looking for quick in the hands. And so one thing that I personally would recommend keeping away from on this paddle is any weight up on the top. That weight on the top is going to slow it down. And to make that max sweet spot, we're going to put mainly weight here on the sides. And so I already pre-cut some tungsten tape, and so I've got some tungsten tape that we sell in Hometown Pickleball. I cut 2 pieces at 5 inches, and we're going to try to get up to kind of my goal. My goal weight once I get an overgrip on is around that 8.3, 8.4. I think with this one we're going to move this up, and so we're going to start a little bit above that halfway point and run this down, and I'm going to do this on both sides. And it does not need to be exact. I try to get them as close as I can. And so this is where we're going to put the weight. We're going to put that on here. So right now we're at 8.2. I also recommend putting some type of edge tape on the top. This is going to add just a little bit more weight. And so we are at 8.3. Now another thing that I personally will do with my paddle is I always put some overgrip on. That overgrip just helps you be able to hold it a little looser. It just helps that size. Also, it's going to give a little tackiness, a little sweat absorption. And once I get that on, this paddle is going to be probably just under 8.5. To me, that's still quick. It's very nimble. That is the size that I like.